Hello there and welcome to Mason Talks. Today we have a story from our NoSleep. Hope you enjoy. It took my son and I'm going after it. As I stood at the edge of the dark never-ending forest, sweat streaming from my forehead stinging my eyes, I saw before me a path and started trekking through. I called out to Jesse, but got nothing in return. It was so quiet that you could hear a fly piss. All I could hear was the thump of my heartbeat radiating in my eardrums. I don't know what I'm facing, but I do know it's cunning, fast, and one hell of a hunter. I look at my watch, it'll be daylight soon. Maybe I'll have the advantage. I clutch my shotgun close and keep moving. It was my husband's. I remember when he first got it from his brother for Christmas to hunt with. He never got around to using it. But if I can find this thing, I'll make damn sure I get good use out of it. I trekked on for what felt like hours until I came across a small clearing with 3 tents and what seemed like a person inside. Huge bright lights illuminated the surrounding area and a hum of voices arose above the tent. "Did you find it yet?" "Negative, sir. No sign of UHC-1, sir. God damn it, Castor, find IT, or I will have your ass. If that thing gets far enough to civilization, then we've screwed the pooch. I will not look like a goddamned fool in front of the man. Are we clear?" 10-4, sir. Good. Now do your fucking job. I don't want to start over more than I have to. I hunched lower into the bushes to get a better look at the man speaking. He was dressed like a MIB character, puffing a Lucky Strike, gun strapped to his waist in a holster. This was much bigger than I thought. I slowly rose the shotgun into view and stepped into the light. "Where is he?" I said in a loud voice. He shot around as if someone just spat on his mother's grave and started to draw from his holster, then stopped midway. "Where is my son?" I said. He smirked and calmly said, "Ma'am, now let's just talk about this. You aren't supposed to be here. This is government," I said. "Where is my son? I know you have something to do with this fucking creature," I said, growing more and more angry by the minute. He inhaled, then threw his cigarette to the ground, then exhaled and said, "Ma'am, this does not concern you. I advise you turn and go home and lock your doors." I, now completely livid, inched closer and raised the shotgun to his head. It became my concern the moment that thing took my boy. I gritted through my teeth. "Listen, lady, this thing is far more than your little Mossberg can handle. If you aren't going to heed my warning, then a little advice to you: it's as fast as a Mustang, smart as a trained assassin, and as evil as a red-eyed rattlesnake. Your son is probably long dead by now, so I suggest you turn." And I cocked the shotgun and blew a shot next to his foot. "I am done playing games with you. How do I kill this thing? Tell me everything you know, or this coming breath will be your last," I spat. He threw his hands in the air and shook his head. "I told you what I know on its profile. As far as killing it, you'd have to get close and shoot it in the heart, but I suggest you don't try to kill it and maybe just try and save your brat and yourself and get the hell out of Dodge. Like I said, this is above you. Lower your weapon and let's talk about this like civil adults." I hesitated to lower my weapon, then slowly let it down. Then he spoke again. "Good. All right. Now I need you to tell me what happened." I then told him a summary. "We moved here a few days ago, and ever since this thing has been hot on our trail. It's made sure we aren't able to contact help or leave. And the last time I encountered it was when it snatched my son and took off." "Well, that's unfortunate. What's your name?" he says while he takes out a cigarette and lights it nonchalant. I grit my teeth again and say, "I don't have time for let's get to know each other. That thing has my son, and from what I've learned it seems I really don't have much time." "Fair enough," he musters. "Well, luckily for you, we're looking for the same thing. I need it. You want your son. So I say we team up and find this thing. I've sent some of my men out and haven't heard anything since our little meeting. I assume they're probably dead by now. Follow me," he says, puffing his cigarette, turning on his heels and walking away. We surface at a map in the tent he was just in, and he points to the red dots on the map. "These are its hot spots. We've tracked it to this very forest so far and haven't really gotten much done. It's killed several of my men already, so I assume our chances of all of us getting out of here are slim to none. But if we can outsmart it, then we may have a slight chance. Grab some gear and we'll head on our way." We walked into the never-ending forest once again. I don't know why he wants this thing, but I don't really care. I just want to see my son alive. so I follow cautiously. We walked on for a while until we started trailing the blood scattered about the forest floor. "We're close," he says. Then sure enough, as if it hurt us, an inhuman screech rang out amongst the trees. My heart felt as if it just downed a can of 4 Red Bulls. But I kept my composure. I raised my gun and the man did the same, ready to face whatever this was. And then I saw it, hunched over making a full-course meal of what I can only assume was one of his men. It was disgusting. Its arms longer than its body. Long legs creased in a squat. Skin gray and rigid falling away with its spine sticking out inches from its back. Black stringy hair covered its face. Sloshing disgusting wet squelching as it devoured its catch. It happily ate away at the man's carcass with gluttonous ease. The suited man rose his gun and shot 4 times into its back. It screeched an unholy sound so loud it was damn near deafening. And it leapt into the air and up into a tree. Then fell limp from 8 feet and smashing into the ground with a cracking thud. "Is it dead?" I asked out of breath at what I had just witnessed. "Not hardly," he answered, "but it's knocked out cold for the moment. Tranquilizer bullets." He lifted his gun and smirked proudly. I sighed, then started calling for Jessie. My heart leapt for joy when I heard a weak muster of "Mom." I ran out the trunk of the tree and found a held-out hole in the ground with Jessie wrapped in a wet slimy substance. I ripped it open and pulled my son free. Meanwhile, the suited man took out chain handcuffs and cuffed the creature. He then pulled out his radio and phoned a chopper, then patiently waited for his ride to arrive. I held my son close. He was breathing shallow, but I knew he'd be okay now. We would be okay now. He staggered for a moment, then started to walk upright. "Ma'am," the suited man called out to me. "Thank you," I nodded. He smiled, then spoke again. "Oh, and one more thing." I turned to look at him and everything flashed and then went dark. I awoke with sweat and tears in my eyes. Heart racing. Breathless. I nearly broke my neck getting out of bed and ran to my son's room only to find him sleeping soundly in his bed. I sighed, then walked downstairs. Was it really all a dream? I murmured to myself, stress must really be getting the best of me. My temples throbbed. I walked over to the window to see that it was quite pleasant outside. I peered down to the windowsill and saw 3 scratches. Huh. Must have been an animal trap in here. Hope the little guy got out. I then peered back outside and stood for a moment. I think I'll take a walk. Then off into the yard I went. Down the rickety steps, around to the backyard and down the nice little path behind the house, and off into the woods.